Inside this lecture, let's try to understand what are the advantages that we are going to get when we implement web applications with the help of inversion of control and dependency injection. The very first and major advantage is loose coupling between the components. If you consider the spring vehicle as one component and speaker and wheel as other components, with this kind of setup, there won't be any tight coupling between these components. All the components are loosely coupled. Why loosely coupled? Because my spring vehicle does not know which implementation of speaker and which implementation of wheel is responsible to make the sound and to move the vehicle. In future, if you try to change to some other vendor of speaker or wheel, there will be zero impact on my spring vehicle. We don't have to make any code changes as well inside this class. I have one real life example as well to explain you about loose coupling in a better manner. Loose coupling is a very important jargon. As a web developer, you need to be aware of this. In simple language, loose coupling means that different parts of a system are not tightly dependent on each other. Instead, they are connected in a way that changes in one of the component have little or no impact on other component. In real life, we have many examples. One good example that we can consider is the relationship between our television and remote. We know each TV, it is going to have a remote. Just imagine one day, if remote is not working, are you going to make any repairs inside the TV? Of course not. Instead, you're going to buy a new remote, and with the new remote, you will start operating the TV. In this scenario, what happened? Though there is a dependency between TV and remote is there, but the relationship between them is loosely coupled. If there is a change is happening on the remote side, there will not be any impact on the TV side. With the loose coupling, we are going to get a lot of benefits. The very first one is all the dependent components can be modified easily without changing or breaking the business logic in other component. Loose coupling also brings better usability and improved flexibility. Why reusability? If I build the functionality of speaker or wheel as a separate component or as a separate dependency, in future if I am trying to build some other functionality which requires the same dependencies like speaker and wheel, I don't have to reinvent everything or I don't have to redevelop everything. Instead, the same components which I am trying to use inside the vehicle class can be reused inside the new classes as well. And with the help of loose coupling, our systems, they are going to become more flexible. If we don't like Sony speakers implementation, we can simply switch to the Bose speakers implementation without making any changes on the vehicle side. I hope you're clear about this very first advantage around the loose coupling. The second advantage is developers will end up writing minimum amount of code because they are not responsible in providing the dependencies. Everything an external entity like Spring Framework is going to take care. The next advantage is around the unit testing. When we implement IoC and dependency injection, our unit testing is going to be more easy with a different type of mocks. Let's imagine one of the developer, they're trying to build the logic inside the Spring vehicle. And the other developer or the second developer, they're trying to build the logic inside the speaker and wheel component. On the day one, of course, these two developers, they're going to start from scratch and not everything is going to be ready at the same time. Definitely someone will make more progress and the other person will have some complex logic, due to which the second developer will end up making some slow progress. In this kind of scenario, the first developer who is trying to build a Spring vehicle logic, he can try to inject the mock objects instead of using the original objects. Maybe he can try to create one more implementation of speaker, just like how we have Bose speaker and Sony speaker. They can try to create some dummy implementation, which is always going to return some dummy response. That's how this dependency injection is going to make your unit testing also very easy. Dependency injection and IoC, they also going to increase the system maintainability and module reusability. We discussed previously how the components or dependencies can be reused in other components because we separated all the logic into separate components. And system maintainability is also going to be increased because all your components, they are not tightly coupled. And as we discussed just now, with the help of IoC and dependency injection, concurrent and independent development is possible. Multiple developers, they can start working on their own business logic, and whoever has the dependency on a component, they can try to use some dummy object or a mock object to proceed with their development. And the last advantage is replacing modules will not have any side effects on other modules. What I mean here is, in future, if you're trying to replace the Sony speakers with the Bose speaker, there won't be any impact on this module where we have written the logic around the vehicle manufacturing. I hope all these advantages are making sense to you. These are only the important advantages, but apart from these advantages, there are many other advantages as well. As we make progress inside the course, we are going to see the demo of all these advantages, and in the same process, you're going to realize the importance of inversion of control and dependency injection.